Hello there, Doug O here, your Success Accelerator with another lesson for you. Today we're going to talk more about goal setting. Now you might be thinking, Doug, we've already talked about SMART goals. Well, yes, we have. And I want you to understand something, that there is a lot that goes in to making sure that your goals are SMART, to making sure that your goals are what you really want. Today, I want to cover something called how to derive a well-formed outcome. Now, that's just a fancy way of saying make sure that what you're asking for is really what you want, and have you thought it through? Now, this comes from something called NLP, Neuro Linguistic Programming. Now, that's not as important as the concepts that I'm about to share with you are. So make sure you're taking some notes and let's dive in. As you're setting your goal, when you're setting your outcome, the first thing you got to do is, hey, what do I want? Of course, all right? But when you're considering what it is you want to make sure that you state it in positive terms. In other words, what do you want? What do you want it to do? Where do you want it to be? When do you want it? Where do you want it? Those kind of questions. And you want to make sure that when you state what you want, like I want to be, do, or have this, you want to make sure that it's positive. For example, if you state, I don't want to be sick. I don't want to be poor. Well, that's not in the positive. What you want to say is, I want to be healthy. I am wealthy. All right. That is stated in the positive term. All right. If it comes up as a negative, make sure you ask, well, what do I want instead of whatever that is? All right. And that will be your answer. The next thing, you need to make sure that it's achievable. Yes, we talked about this as a SMART goal. And remember, if it's possible for a human being to achieve this outcome, if it's been done by somebody else, then in theory it can be done by you too. Now, if you think you're the first, well, then you need to find out, is it possible? Then, here's a very, very important part of setting your outcome. What will I accept as evidence that I've achieved my outcome? All right? How will you know that you've achieved this outcome? And how will you describe that? What evidence? What's that criteria? Now, the best way to do that is to describe it in terms of things that you can see, hear, or touch that proves to you and or a third party, someone else, that you've done what you set out to do. So, for example, if your goal is to, let's say, close a real estate deal within the next 30 days, how will you feel? What will you see? What will you hear? And for example, you might see yourself in the bank, feeling the check and seeing the check in your hands, seeing yourself filling out the deposit slip, making a copy of it and sharing that with your spouse or partner. They're there patting you on the back, smiling at you, telling you, I knew you could do it. I believed in you. And then you looking at this check and this deposit slip and feeling fantastic. That would be a full sensory description of how you'll know and how someone else would know that you've achieved your goal. Next, is it within your control? All right, is it something that you personally do authorize or arrange? All right, you want to make sure that you don't set a goal, you don't set an outcome that's dependent on somebody else. So, for example, I'll be happy when somebody does this. No, you'll choose to be happy right now, regardless of what's going on. You cannot control other people. So make sure that it is all about your control. It's within your control. Self-initiated and maintained. Also, are the costs and consequences of obtaining this outcome acceptable? Is it worth your time? Is it worth your effort? And is it worth any impact on third parties or the environment that you're in? Your home, your office, your work, that environment. Have you accounted for those as well? Do I have all the resources I need to achieve this outcome? All right? Stop and think. Do you have or can you get all the resources that you need to achieve this outcome? The knowledge, the belief, different things, people, money, time. All right? If you don't have it right now, can you get it? Is it possible? And finally, if I could have it now, would I take it? All right? Are all the cost and the consequences of achieving this outcome acceptable to you and by those that it affects? Now, this is also called ecology. All right, so are you sure this is really what you want? What would this cost you, or what might it cost you? What will happen after you've accomplished your outcome? What impact will achieving this have on the rest of your life? And what would not happen if you get this outcome or achieve your goal? Right? Just a few things you want to make sure that you've thought of. And as we end this quick goal setting lesson today, listen to this quote from Stephen J. Ross. There are those who work all day, those who dream all day, and those who spend an hour dreaming before setting to work to fulfill those dreams. Go into the third category because there's virtually no competition. So make sure that you set your goals, make sure they're smart, make sure they're well-formed, and just take action and get going. This is Doug O, your Success Accelerator, and I will talk to you soon.